the stock market, meaning companies' new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving.
The show goes on.
Nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Welcome, my degenerates. The rest of your life starts right now on Market Mania, the no bullshit approach to all financial markets, including NFTs, cryptocurrencies, Colonial pipeline, Bitcoin, and of course, the largest casino in the world, the U.S. stock market. Joining me today, fellow degenerates, Dario Aliotto and Brett Ritchie. We're going to be talking about our pick of the day, of course. We're going to have to talk about, I'm sorry, Anthony Weiner announcing he may be selling NFTs of his pervy texts. Turns out no one actually wants to work. Who'da thunk it? The Colonial pipeline Bitcoin, some of it has been recovered apparently, but we've got some questions around that we'll get into. And then our top story is El Salvador loves Bitcoin, and they said they will take it on as legal tender. Right before we get to that, though, I did want to do a quick spin through markets. They're having a crazy day today. Tesla was up and then gave up almost all of its gains on news that it had strong sales in China, but it didn't seem to keep other investors around. Looked like a good exit spot for them. And then, of course, GME was up like a rocket ship and then tumbled, and now it's trying to recover. We've got AMC going sideways. BlackBerry, same thing. Workhorse, all of these meme stocks just struggling to stay alive after pretty epic early morning runs. And then, of course, the entire cryptocurrency market just tanking. My goodness, Bitcoin down 12%, Ethereum down 15%. And it is in amongst all of these strange market occurrences that we come to find ourselves talking about El Salvador embracing Bitcoin potentially as a version of legal tender. So, I mean, this is exciting. It's good to get heads of nations talking about cryptocurrencies in positive ways, especially amongst all the FUD we've had recently, including from the Orange Jesus himself. Trump trashed it yesterday. So, but my question is, great, so you're saying you're going to take it as legal tender, but, I mean, people can just accept it whether the El Salvadoran president says it or not, and they were quick to also say that it won't be replacing the dollar. So does this really move the needle much for us, or is this just so much noise? Brett, what do you think?
I personally don't really care about it. I know some people are excited. Like the bull scenario is that El Salvador leads the charge where other nations opt into this Bitcoin as digital gold narrative. I agree with you. The payments aren't very exciting. People don't really want to pay with Bitcoin anymore. It's volatile and it's seen these huge runs. So for me, Bitcoin really is more of that store of value, or it has that potential, right, where it's digital gold. And so the bull case is that El Salvador leads the charge. Personally, if I were a wealthy Bitcoiner, I would not be going to El Salvador to do Bitcoin things. That's just my personal choice or opinion. I don't think it's going to spark some big boom down there. I could be wrong, but from El Salvador's standpoint, why not? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It might help them lever up in the sort of like international game. Like Estonia is another country that was very crypto friendly and forward thinking. And I think it's smart if you're not if you don't have a seat at the main table, why wouldn't you take a chance on something like this?
Well, it's a good way for them to draw attention to their country for sure, and it will have a lot of benefits. But also, El Salvador historically has had a little bit of authoritarianism, including their current president. And he's kind of a millennial guy, he's a forward-thinking guy, but he's used guns before to get his way. And Bitcoin will make it, I think, a little bit harder for guys like this to actually thrive in the future. The other thing
I don't know about that.
Well, I guess
maybe.
But
also, everyone in the U.S., they love calling everyone else authoritarian. Like, I honestly, it's gotten to the point where I hear somebody say, like, this guy's authoritarian. I don't know anything about this El Salvadorian guy. I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt just because a bunch of blue checks on Twitter are like, this guy's an authoritarian. They said it about Trump. They said it about all these guys. And, like, 80% of the time, they're wrong. And they're just saying it because they don't like them or is not following their like certain political tribe.
Fair enough. So
When you have problem of public order, you have two choices: being authoritarian or let it go loose. And for definitely they have some problem of public order. They had a huge problem with their currency. Their main thing is that for many years already, their currency is not running anymore. They are relying completely on US dollars. What they're doing is they're trying to give themselves a second chance. Why? Because now they don't have the possibility to debase their currency like many other countries, which means it's a way to finance themselves instead of taxing. But still, they are using a currency which is being debased because the US dollar is being debased. So they get the debasement, but they don't get the benefits. This is not a good thing for them. This is why Bitcoin, it's an opportunity. It will not replace the dollar, but it will be an opportunity for them. Also, it will attract investors because when a country gives you opportunity to invest in there and make some sort of tax haven, it's not a bad thing, especially when you know that they really need you as an investor. They're not going to turn you down later on. Also, they're already using a lot Bitcoin in El Salvador. They're going to build all the infrastructure, with Blockstream. They say they're gonna have some satellite, which are gonna give like some coverage of internet also into the rural area. There are a lot of things. The main thing is that definitely it's not good for any country to not have their proper currency and be running on a currency which is debased by another country. So it's a win-win opportunity for them. And the fact that the market didn't care, it's quite another thing, also because, as always, a lot of FUD is spreading there. We have to understand that if some country will ever seriously adopt Bitcoin at a larger scale, they have to start somewhere. And probably if this will happen, when this will happen, and I think it will happen sooner or later, this day, it will be remembered as a historic day, because again, we had to start somewhere. And as we could see, it also started with some sort of trending thing in Latin America. So many other politicians, they started getting a bit braver onto this field and coming out and say, oh, look, I also support Bitcoin, putting laser eyes, which is not highly needed, but it helps them to come out and start supporting the thing. And this can only be helping. This can only be bullish. Then when this happened in the middle of all sorts of FUD, it's another thing. But I think that this is only a good news for Bitcoin, and it's a good news for any country which is really weak currency, which has really high inflation, or no currency at all. Because let's remember again, El Salvador doesn't have a currency at all.
Well, that is a really good point. And, the first country that uses Bitcoin to solve its currency problems, that's really going to be the first time the use case is made. Right now, it seems like El Salvador will have a lot of advantage. Like you said, they can't control their own currency. But right now, they're not talking in terms like that. They're still saying the dollar will be largely used there, especially to exchange BTC, and that this will be mainly for remittances initially. So.
Yes, but look, the thing is that would you rather, when you would be in El Salvador, when you have some cash which you're not going to touch for 10 years, would you rather save in dollars or in Bitcoin? It's important that they get this opportunity. Maybe what they will do, that they will save in Bitcoin part of what they think that they're not going to touch for years, which is the wise thing, and maybe they will spend dollars. What every Bitcoiner does, we just try to save in Bitcoin and spend dollars. This way, they can do the same thing. It will be much easier now, because when you make it legal tender, you don't have all sorts of other problems which we have in other countries when cryptocurrency are under bad light, and it can only help them. It cannot be bad at all.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see how this plays out. I mean, I guess I do gotta agree. It's pretty much just good news going forward for BTC. Stuff like this is more fun for BTC when we start talking about hackers and money being stolen from major infrastructure in the United States. This, of course, is talking about the Colonial pipeline hack that happened recently, shut down oil going to the eastern seaboard, and this got the Biden Justice Department riled up. They went looking for the hackers, and now they claim that they have recovered some millions in cryptocurrency paid to the Colonial pipeline ransomware hackers, paid by the private company, the CEO of a private company. And upon doing so, he did get some of the ire of the Biden administration, saying, look, we don't want you paying these guys off. But they were able to recover some of it. This story goes over that. But this leaves me with some questions. The FBI was talking about this in terms of them having hacked Bitcoin in some fashion, or let you Bitcoiners know you're not safe out there. And I know they do have some pretty advanced chain analysis tools that they can tie to IP addresses. But I think they're making a lot more noise about this than there's actually to be made. Dario, what do you think?
Let's remind one time a basic thing. If you store your private keys online, you are willing to lose your Bitcoins. Somebody can get access to them, and it can be the government which is targeting you, especially if you store your private keys in a server which is located into the government, which you have been somehow hacking and giving trouble to. Because what happened is that the hackers, they made such a stupid mistake that they were storing their private keys in a server, probably cloud service, which was based in North Carolina. So they just had somehow to track down all the IP and find out what kind of service they were using. For sure, the FBI had to dig and search into many gigabytes of data. They were searching until they found something, what they were looking for. For sure, it's not that they were like, oh, okay, it's that one. They have to process a huge amount of data. This is why it took weeks for them until they finally found it. And the other thing, the funny thing is that, when something like this happened, then a lot of people get to speak. And also when they had the press conference, they have been really careful saying how did they manage it, because the main thing for them is trying to deter future suckers from doing the same thing, or from anybody to believe that the government can be so weak and can be targeted so easily. So they have to show that they are strong, that they are invulnerable, and so on. For example, one FBI agent said that no matter where the Bitcoin wallet is, the FBI can still get access. He didn't say that he can still get access if the private keys are online, if they're stored in a US server. So they are trying, to make people think, and it's normal. I understand them. I would do the same. This is what they're supposed to do. When you don't want somebody, for example, to punch your face, you want them to believe that it's not a good idea, that they're gonna get troubles from it, that you're gonna fight back, that they shouldn't do it. So they're doing just their job, but obviously, from that, there is a lot of fat, as always. So, then the rest is history. We had the El Salvador news, which was really price didn't move, it actually dumped. And then we have another news, which is actually a good one, and the price dumps again, because I think it's a good news when some hackers get fucked. I don't support them, right? So, it should be a good news overall.
Well, I know a lot of the hackers went running for the hills. A lot of the rival hacking groups mentioned that they will change their policies so that you can only hit in certain sectors now, things that will not excite the ire of the U.S. government nearly as much. So we'll see how this shakes out going forward. Will be interesting to see if they actually get some of the people involved and don't just recover the Bitcoin. But moving on, talking about people making money, or lack thereof, the total job openings in the United States is at a record high, but these jobs are not being filled. And I think it's pretty obvious that It's because it's a combination of the stimulus money going out and the fact that these jobs are low-paying, high-stress, difficult-hour service industry jobs. This seems to be America's only economy right now, is a sort of a service economy. We're not building the manufacturing jobs or the high-paying tech jobs at paces that will replace the jobs lost from the shutdown, or even paces that compete with the rest of the world. We basically send out services in the form of blogs and newsletters and nice restaurants, and we don't really create actual physical things much anymore, and the jobs are starting to reflect that. So, Brett, as I was looking at this, I just had to ask myself, you know, as long as these stimmies go on, no one's going to get back to work, but is this going to drive wages way up just to get people back in the door? And is that ultimately a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's positives that will come out of this. Primarily the case for UBI, right? So like right now, the unemployment benefits are quite good in the US. And so often it doesn't make sense to take basically a minimum wage job, get kicked off of the unemployment. Right now you're doing all this work for maybe like a little extra, or you can do nothing and like still be fine. And so you have a lot of people that are just not willing to work. My opinion, you should be getting both, right? Here's this money. Okay, you lost your job. This lasts for a certain amount of time. Get to UBI, right, where everyone is just getting money every month. And then if you have a job, you make money on top of that. I guarantee you, if people weren't going to lose their benefits, these jobs would be getting filled. It'd be money on top. People would be doing it. Like here in Vegas, they have this insane policy because most people are stupid against surge pricing on Uber. Okay.
Yep.
So Uber can only pay like low rates. And because it goes through the app, you would get kicked off unemployment if you drive for Uber. So there's like, it takes like an hour and a half to get an Uber because nobody wants to go drive for them because they can't make enough. They don't have the surge pricing. Whereas in Massachusetts is the only other state with that. But other states, they can make more. Now it's like, okay, now it's worth it for me to go do that. But if you give out great unemployment indefinitely, people aren't going to go back to work. And so this, to me, is a great sign to transition this to a UBI. Let people double dip, get both. That's fine. Government clearly can just print whatever they want. And these jobs will fill right away if people could keep both sides of the income.
Well, I can't follow you down the UBI path. I'd love to have that debate with you sometime, a little outside of the scope here. But Dario, I guess my question for you is, what's the end game here? Is there UBI coming? Can we expect that? And if not, are these jobs going to normalize, or is this just going to be what the future looks like?
I think what is happening now is that, as we knew, they had to do something really quick because they shut them down within few weeks, and they had to give people money, and they had to especially keep the order, because if you want to keep the shutdown going, you have to make sure that people don't get outraged, get out and start doing mess, because you don't have enough policemen to keep it in order. So this is what they did, and they had to do it quick. But now to revert it back to normal, it will be slow. It has to be slow. You cannot just snap it like you did it on the first time. So they will have to keep printing money, but maybe they can do some hybrid solution like Brett said. Anyways, it will be much slower than how they did at the beginning, and this will take long time. I mean, it's good news for Bitcoin definitely, but for US overall economy, I don't know how this can be fixed. Maybe definitely Bitcoin is sending people back wanting to work to McDonald's somehow, but I don't know overall how it will end.
Well, I know we've had some moratoriums on rent, and we've had money going out, extended unemployment benefits. That's all coming to an end here pretty soon. I mean, nobody wants to work. The reason we work is because we don't like work. We like a roof over our head and food in our mouths. And as soon as that becomes the reality for a number of people, I think we will see these jobs get picked up. Well, speaking of unappetizing food, Anthony Weiner may sell his infamous crotch shot as an NFT. And this is where we have arrived. So Anthony Weiner, of course, is world famous creepazoid. He got caught, as Carlos Danger is his name, sending sex pics to an underage girl. He was running for Congress, I guess. It cost him his seat. Now he's back just trying to be relevant again. I kind of wish this guy would just go away, but this speaks to a larger issue. This is kind of the future that we're going to look at. NFTs are just going to take over everything. We've been saying a lot for this show. So, Brett, I guess my question is, why do you want to be the first person to own the Weiner NFT, and how much Ethereum are you personally going to pay for it?
I have no interest in this, but I will say I've always felt kind of bad for this guy. I know, like, he did things he shouldn't have done. I think he clearly was a sex addict, and or like there were some other things going on. And it was just kind of a sad story. Like when you look at it, like he had a loving wife, you know, and he was in this position of power, and he just like, for no reason, threw it away. And he's a sex offender now. So and I don't know all the details. So if he did something like horrible and I'm wrong, I really haven't paid much attention. But I guess he needs money because he couldn't have a job, although it said he was CEO of some company up there. Yeah, I'm not interested in this. And I do think there's like a market for political collectibles. Like I think NFTs, it's worth exploring. I just don't think like a sex scandal is the thing to do it with, you know, like Watergate documents or something, or I don't know, like Bernie's announcement when he went to run, you know, something like that. Sure. Like sex scandal stuff, not interested.
Well, and he's saying it in terms of like, you know, I'll release the sex scandal NFT, but I'll also release the email that Jon Stewart sent making fun of me. Like he wants to release these NFTs as sort of a cautionary tale, the way he puts it. I see it as more of a cash grab.
He wants to make money. He's not doing this to like raise awareness or so. I'm just trying to. No, he wants to make money.
Right. So, but this raises a larger question too. Like, what's to stop some truly heinous people from releasing NFTs of their worst behavior? I'm thinking of serial killers releasing, snuff NFTs into the dark. Maybe I should even mention that. You know, I just like.
No, that'll happen probably.
The mind goes like reels with possibilities.
In Christchurch, New Zealand, he live streamed massacring all those people. So anything. Look, the technology to me is awesome, NFTs, and it's going to be used by both good and bad people. So 100% you're going to see some like really bad people release NFTs also of bad things.
Man, all right. Well, Dario, if you had to release an NFT of one moment of your life, what would that be? Bad or good?
Look, I am... not touching NFT, and I won't touch NFT. I understand why people would want to buy them. I still think that when I have to decide where to invest every single dollar out of my pocket, NFT would be the very, very last thing.
We won't.
So
you don't belong here in Market Mania, sir. We won't have that kind of. We won't have that kind of reasonable talk here on Market Mania.
I know. This is why I'm trying, to get kind of quiet in this sort of topic. We can even save the viewers' time and move on.
Well, we can move on. We've got the pick of the day coming up pretty soon, but I just wanted to mention also in chat came a question regarding quantum FUD relating to cracking Bitcoin and crypto hashtag or hashes. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once here. So there was some news last week about potentially a quantum computer being able to crack Bitcoin, but the other thing is Bitcoin was also launching this week or very soon a Taproot upgrade, and among that Taproot upgrade includes what's something called Schnorr signatures. Outside of the scope of this episode is exactly what it all does, but it just does make Bitcoin transactions that much more efficient. It also makes them more vulnerable to these potential quantum hacks. So that was part of the discussion as they talked about the Taproot upgrade. But their thinking on that is the quantum hack possibility is really quite a distant fear, and at that point they're going to have to address so many other issues related to that another round of BIP would have to come through Bitcoin Improvement Protocol to address the whole thing. So you don't have to worry too much about quantum FUD. We've already got the Pope and Trump and the US government and China and everyone else and quantum and Colonial leaks, so we got enough FUD to last
We're
days.
running out of possibilities. They have done everything. I have a really wide fantasy, but I cannot imagine what they can FUD next. They have used all the spectrum. They have pushed it so low. Also, let me tell you one thing, because this is important to tell to our viewers. Today, I think on my Telegram group, which is mainly in Italian, popped up some user which. She was sharing some quotes from some article, and then so we figured out that basically she's getting paid every time that somebody is quoting what she's reporting as a quotes from articles. She's getting paid like 10 cents per reply, and she's paid from an agency that is then paid by hedge funds. Okay, these hedge funds have been shorting since 60K. So this is not the first thing that we hear something about it. So we have to be aware, and we have to let the people which we know, which we love, that every time they read some news, somebody is putting the news out, and these news places, they have to make money, either with advertising, either with clickbait, or either with just because they are paid to spread that news. It's just some sort of marketing from who wants you to believe that thing that they are quoting to you. Let's not forget this, because then we are getting crazy. We are always have to address the same sort of FUD, the same sort of thing. Let's just tell to the people, please don't just believe what you read. Try to understand why this is getting there and why in this exact moment. Because the same hedge fund, now they're shorting. At some point, they will flip, they will pump it. When they're backloaded, they will bring it to all-time high. And then again, at some point, they will be shorting again and FUD it. So, I mean, let's be aware of that. It's not random. They're doing it for a reason, and they're doing it consistently.
Well, that's good to remember. That's why we hodl and dollar cost average, those responsible investors anyway. No one here on Market Mania. Speaking of responsible investment, that brings us to the not investment advice, do your own research, Market Mania pick of the day. All right, we've got some great ones today. Well, some sure things today. What have you got for us, Dario?
I got BTC. I mean, I know it can get kind of boring, but I mean, when something it gets really high marketing with really high expectation. For example, when a company like Nikola, they roll down a truck under down the hill and they pretend that they have something, people then they believe that they have a product and they buy. This is the exact opposite. They are pretending all the way, all the government, all the news media, all the agency, all the hedge funds which are paying them, they're pretending that this thing is worth less than what it's worth. I don't know if there have been in the last 1 year at least a better buying opportunity. Maybe it was better buying opportunity 15, 16 months ago during the March of last year when everything was down and Bitcoin was to 3, 4, 5,000. But after that, I don't see anything more. Also because according to monetary expansion, if you want to compare the previous all-time high of 2017, now we should get to 100,000 to get to the same level comparing to how the currency have been debased. So I can only recommend that one.
Well, that all makes perfect sense to me. I'm a little biased, but maybe Brett's got something that disagrees with you. What do you got, Brett?
I got the same pick, man. I like Bitcoin here. I don't think there's this dip doesn't make sense in terms of kind of the trajectory Bitcoin was on. I agree with Dario. There's been a lot of FUD spread. I think one underestimated reason Bitcoin crashed too is so many of the vocal voices on Twitter are just absolute charlatan, disaster, total clown, carnival barkers that really do Bitcoin a disservice, and they won't shut the fuck up. They really bother me, but aside from them, Bitcoin is awesome. And I think it makes a ton of sense as this digital gold. You see companies, big, almost $1 trillion company in Tesla was in there. You see countries getting involved. I think, Wall Street, I think that if you look at it for the long term, this is a reasonable entry point. I wouldn't use leverage. I would just buy some at spot and hold it.
All right, and I had to search far and wide for my pick of the day today, and since White Boy Summer's kicking off in full swing, I had to go with Fat Ass White Girl Coin, PogCoin. This PogCoin is disrupting the viral meme coin market by providing a cryptocurrency that powers transactions between content creators and content enthusiasts of tasteful nudes. So this is tasteful nude-backed cryptocurrency. Get your fat ass white girl coin on the Binance Smart Chain and watch your profits expand accordingly. All right, welcome to the future, folks. It's time to put the show away and to tell you all. It's
pumping a bit already, huh? Must be us.
It's gonna twerk a little. It'll go up and down. It'll slap a bit, but by the end of the day, it's gonna be one big fat ass in your wallet. So get yourself some. Hey, remember we told you to get cum rockets right here on this show about a week before it went up 174%. So the cum rocks are shooting. The fat ass white girl's gonna follow right behind. Okay. Time to get out of here. This nonsense is crazy. Go to Mindat, get your gold, silver. Tell them Market Mania sent you. You'll get special pricing. Like, subscribe, share, get us out there. We will see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it is lights out.
I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine.
Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold or a domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl.
Switch it up.
I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard, got the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury of how we're turning, where I would turn it. Can't lie like Mississippi burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I imagine should've looked the other way. Couldn't clear space on my mind, was afraid of the time. Strobe lights like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now, how about tonight? My interview's tight.